People help only on Christmas. Do it for themselves and the good feeling. If you really want them to help, do it whenever you can. Yes. Well, yes and no. I will say something is better than nothing. And there are also a lot of people that don't have the means to do so. So they really can't like do that whenever. But they go out of their way to make sure it happens at Christmas time. Some people, what they do is they set up a budget throughout the year and they have a little extra funds, and those extra funds are for buying gifts for family, and then whatever's left over they will then give. So it's not always people only doing it for themselves. There's also the reminder, some people don't know how to help and get stuff to the people that need it unless a service is doing it for them. Not everyone lives around a ton of homeless people that they can just go hand stuff to, right? So the better thing to do is to go to a service, go to an organization, an association, whatever, that specifically does help the homeless and give them the stuff, and they will ration it out to people. And they also provide a lot of services to help them beyond that, right? If they're a good one. So I think a lot of people don't know what organizations exist. The only ones they know of are the ones that show up around Christmas time looking for extra donations, because they know that time people are most likely to be in a giving mood, right? I will say there are several good ones that you should consider, but Big Brothers Big Sisters, actually. I wonder, do they do charity donations and stuff? Big Brothers and Big Sisters of America. They do mentoring and they focus on youth, because you can help adults, but I think you have a better chance of changing someone's life who's in a bad situation if you get them when they're younger, right? And you offer them guidance and mentoring while they're younger to guide them. Not to say that adults are always a lost cause, but it's a lot harder working against that. So I've always liked this association, because something that they do, this organization I should say, something that they do is they don't just work with people that are in the worst situations. They go for people that just need a little something as well and try to help them out. And I really like that. I've always donated direct items. Anytime I have had clothing that I wanted to get rid of, that I was done with, if there wasn't like a family member with a kid that could use it, whatever, I would always donate it to them. And you can organize pickups. They'll come and get it from your house. You say, hey, I have a box of old clothing that I want to get rid of. And they'll be like, all right, well, we're doing your area this day. Can you do that? Leave it outside. And you leave it marked for them and they'll pick it up. So when you're trying to donate stuff, that's a good one. So go to people who don't have a lot of money, but aren't like completely homeless, whatever, and they'll still try and get clothing to them. So a lot of people that are younger and don't have a lot of resources, especially people in foster care, stuff like that, they'll try and get that stuff to them. So it's like getting hand-me-downs, that sort of thing. But yeah, I've always donated to this organization because I've had friends that have accessed their services and gotten a lot of help from them. Genuinely, that's like really been formative. And what they tend to do as well is they tend to have branches around where they'll take your donations and they'll try to reallocate those things to the people in your area as well. And then, if you do something insane donation, they'll let you know who you helped and how they used your stuff and, all that. So I don't know. I always liked this org, and that's one that I think is good and year round. They don't just show up at Christmas time, and you can volunteer through them, and you can become one of the Big Brothers or Big Sisters. So basically what they do is they set up mentorship programs. So they will obviously do like a huge background check on you and all this stuff, and they'll put you in an environment where you're under surveillance, you're being watched, so you can't do anything weird, and they'll set you up to do mentorship. Teach them a skill, teach them a class, just sit around and talk to them, because it might be like a kid in foster care who hates their foster parents and, needs an adult to talk to, and they literally don't have family, stuff like that. So I really like that, because I feel like as much as you can donate, like food and clothing and help people that way, when they're younger, they actually need people. Right? Like they need an environment. So I always like them. TLDR, I always like Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Blazing said, I wish more struggling people use the food bank. Lots of people go food insecure and say, oh, well, I'm not homeless and starving, so I shouldn't use it. Meanwhile, food bank has stuff expiring in the warehouse. Yes, that's really true. I think that's a good way to put it. Like, food insecurity is different than being like completely homeless. But that's literally what the food bank is for. Do you need food? Okay, sign up. Like that's exactly what it's for. I think also a lot of people don't want to walk in there because they never have. They don't feel like they're at rock bottom, so they've never tried accessing those services. And they don't realize it's not just for people that are like all the way rock bottom. It's, like you said, it's for like a lot more than that. I think there's also a shame factor. Some people don't want to be that guy that goes to the food bank and grabs stuff. But I've always encouraged people, even if you're just a single mom and like you make enough to feed your kids, but it's not really like good, well-rounded, you can go there and be like, look, I've got canned vegetables at home, but do you have anything at all that fits like these food groups or, whatever? I want to give my kids more food variety, right? That kind of stuff. And oftentimes they will absolutely help out. Absolutely. So it does help, man. It does. Your family often uses the food bank, and the amount of expired stuff because people aren't using the services. Like, they have meat and veggies is good shit. There are a lot of people willing to give to food banks. That's one that's huge. Yeah. So I think people don't realize how overstocked they are. I think you should just access it. You should utilize it. If you're struggling a little bit, you should immediately look into what resources there are and not assume it's only for people who have nothing. Because there aren't that many people that have nothing. A lot of people have a little something, and then they kind of trick themselves into thinking like that they're not deserving of help. They think that because they have a scrap of something that they're fine and they shouldn't ask. I think a lot of people that are in somewhat bad situations get kind of like into that mindset. But no, you should actually just go. Right? If you feel like, man, I wish I had this basic thing, but I can't afford it, that's enough. That's enough for you to go and like ask for help. 100%. Actually, VShojo's gonna probably plan to do together, we were talking about doing another charity thing, so look out for that soon. Speaking of charity, I like doing charity stuff. We were thinking about it. I was also planning my own event, but it wasn't like just like an on-stream charity thing for me. It was like an in-person event that I would try to do with flesh streamers and stuff like that. I wanted to set up a whole event at some point. So I've been working on the back end of kind of R&Ding and planning for that. But I really wanted to do more events where it's like we do half the money to charity and the other half to pay for the event itself, you know, because doing an in-person event is like not cheap. So I was like, how can I make this work? Why don't I do it like a 50-50 split or maybe just no split, just whatever money the event makes pays for itself first, and then all excess, all proceeds, right? 100% of proceeds, we could say. Anything that would be profit. Boom. I think proceeds isn't the right word. Profit. All of that would go. That's my thought.